We are virgins no longer.
So a little fun fact about Greece.
In a boat, we're Americans. We're going to spend money. And at the risk of sounding morbid,
The oldest travel influencers on the podcast scene at some point here. So Chuck and I are happy to take your calls. Well, if I had a secretary, we're separate but equal. Someone has to like me best. Enough money and time, you can do anything you want in this world.
the man, the myth, and legend.
I got a Volvo.
Not a political statement.
Travel like something is potentially going wrong. Extra underwear. You can't wear shorts everywhere.
Chuck decides to move to France.
Well, first of all, let's just say this. Everybody get your passports. Who's coming? I'll fight you.
I'm not trying to be funny. They speak the language.
Today's my last day. We're just going to shut down right here.
We spent 4 days of the cruise in our cabins dying.
And if you're sick, don't travel. Ever handsome, ever friendly, ever wonderful. It's not that I don't like children.
She's very picky about everything but her men.
I do believe I proclaimed for the spirit that day. Because I don't wear pajamas.
And last week on Life in the Baggage Claim.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good weekend, wherever you are. Welcome to Life in the Baggage Claim. We are here today with our first very special guest. This is episode 13. This is the wrap on summer. I'd like to introduce you to Paul Lilly, who you'll see on the screen here.
How you guys doing?
Is Paul would say he's a driven and highly accomplished luxury travel sales manager. He's originally from New York City. He brings a lot of expertise in the travel industry in his career, has a proven track record of driving revenue growth. As my personal coach, I would say Paul's a driver. He pushes. He asks you the questions you don't want to be asked.
That's right.
Which is what you want to coach for, right? And part of why we have Paul here today is not only his experience, but he's got a very strategic approach to things. He's not afraid to ask hard questions. And he finds the best in people and says, you've got all this. Now, why can't you do it? He kind of gives you that kind of, it's a tough love moment, right? So when I approached Chuck about this, I had to make sure, and he knew that this is not to talk about the company you work for. This is to talk about how you coach people, how you grow, how you evolve. And he'll probably use me as an example because I'm sure there's things he has to say. But I've had a great relationship with Paul since I met him at our original Star University. And of course, with me, my always handsome, always wonderful, amazingly talented, only modeling star, Chuck Longerbeam.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. And Paul, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Jim started talking to me a long time ago about having a podcast. He said, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. And I said, if I can help you in any way. And he said, absolutely, come on board. And I think the next words out of his mouth was, we can have guests. So thank you for being our first guest, Jim.
Absolutely.
Jim has been talking about this for 13 episodes. So we're going
My pleasure.
And that's fun to think about, right? Again, we talk about this. It's like I say this every week. We made 13 episodes. So we're 13 weeks in. That's pretty good. We're pretty proud of this. And our following is growing. So thank you if you're here for the first time for coming to listen and spend some time with us. If you're coming back and you've seen us before, I hope you keep coming back. You haven't scared your way yet. So that's a good thing. So Paul, let's open up and talk about a little bit about who you are, what drives you, what makes you want to grow and do things.
Family first over everything. That's what makes me that's what keeps me moving forward. I'm big on not dwelling on the past, moving backwards. It's always forward movement. So I live my life like that. I'm always moving forward, never backwards. And I teach and I coach from that perspective, right? So, with my background, I come from a extremely driven, luxury, sales driven, I should say, background. But more importantly, like I said, it's more on the lines of, it's just my coaching style. I'm a people person. I love conversation. I love people. I'm a history and art nut. So when I talk travel from that perspective, from an educational perspective, because at the end of the day, we're only here for a short while. We're only here for a blip, right? And there's so much to see on this planet, whether it's man-made or given to us by Mother Earth, right? There's so much to see. And I sort of push towards that of just getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of your box, or your circle. I have a firm belief that I'm a square. You can't put me into a circle. All right. So again, it's more in the lines of just letting people know that people like us exist and we're here to help. Yes, it's sales. Yes, it's marketing. But at the end of the day, it comes from a great place because it's vacation, it's totally different from corporate travel.
Yes, absolutely.
So when we're talking vacations, I tend to dwell on other franchise owners. Look, you need to remind your clients, yes, the only thing that they can bring back from vacation, yes, they can bring back little trinkets, maybe a little photo from here, maybe a snow globe from here. But at the end of the day, the only thing that they can really bring back from that said vacation is what? It's a memory. It's memory from that vacation. So as the advisor, my customer service is always going to be superb because I preach from that level, from that avenue of let me allow you to create the best memory that you'll ever have when you're on vacation at that location.
So, Paul, I love that's where you stand from it. I think if there's one thing I've learned in the year almost that I've been talking to you is that you do too. That's your conversation point. You've really emphasized with me the whole thought of, you're selling happiness, you're selling joy, you're not selling a used car, you're not putting an AC system in the house. You're putting memories into someone's background, right? That they get to remember. And I think that's if you could sell more products that way, people would sell more products, right? It's hard to sell joy into something that causes you to have to pay more, right?
But I can always rebuttal that. Because of the simple fact that, it's depending on somebody's budget, or I don't like to use the word budget. I prefer spend. Depending on somebody's spend, it can still curate something that'll be amazing for them. Why? Because it's in my energy. It's in my dialogue. It's in the conversations. That's why I'm always telling you, Jim, have conversation, have dialogue, have great communication with your clients. Reason being is because you'll end up making friends. If it's genuine, when I speak on vacations and I speak on travel or I'm having conversations, you can feel where it's coming from with me. It's coming from here. Yeah. It's coming from a solid place. It's coming from love. It's coming from my vast knowledge of travel. I come from a background of an airline family. My dad just retired a couple of years ago with 53 years of service as a pilot with American. So with that, I've been everywhere. I'm only 48 going on 49, and I've practically visited every country in the world, except, Russia, Antarctica, and some Middle Eastern countries. I've been all over Australia. I've been all over Africa. I've been all over Europe. I've been all over Asia. I've been all over the Americas, Central, North, and South. My first job was with American, So again, it's a matter of just getting out there, meeting people, networking. I'm a networker. I love to meet people. I go to happy hour every Friday. My wife and I, we go to happy hour every Friday. We sit at the bar purposely, just to network, just to meet people, because you never know who you're going to be sitting next to, standing next to, having a conversation with, right? The person to your left may be a multimillionaire. The one to my right, he might be a billionaire because I'm at seasons 52 at happy hour. Right?
Yeah, I think it's something that I've learned, and I'm working hard on myself doing it. I know I have the skill to sell stuff. I could sell a mom or children, if I had to. Mm-hmm. But I don't like to sell. I want to get someone interested. I want to engage them. And I always, when I start a conversation about travel, when I feel it's time it's appropriate, I'll drop that I'm a travel advisor, and then we'll go through the conversation differently, right? And
totally.
Keep it honest, keep it real, keep it right in front of them. And I always push on are you going to regret you didn't go kind of concept, right? Are you going to be sad you didn't go in 10 years when you can't go there anymore? Right. Are you going to be sorry when that country devolves into some craziness and you cannot visit it? Are you going to be sad when you have an injury and you're no longer able to travel? So, and I think, Chuck, you've talked similar, right?
Yeah, and Paul, it's so funny that Jim speaks very highly of you. He has all along. And frankly, I'm a little envious, but no, it's funny. It's almost we are, and now I know why, Jim, beyond you being the person you are, Jim speaking so highly of you, you're parroting exactly what he and I've been saying for 12 episodes. It's all about, seriously, it's all about, like I think I said this on the second or third episode, exactly what you said, as you're getting ready to take your last breath, is it the house you owned, the car you owned, or is it the memories you had? And it's the memories.
It's the memories.
And Jim and I both are very big in this podcast and in our businesses with selling memories. And we were talking about this the other day. I sent this young couple, they're in right this minute, they're in Italy on their honeymoon. They're doing a bus tour of Italy, and then they're going to Athens, and then they're doing I think it's a 6-day cruise around the Greek Isles. They're going to be 16 days. And he's been sending me pictures every day saying, this is phenomenal.
See?
And I don't have any money, but I don't care about the money. It's that is everything to me. That is just wonderful. Helping people make memories. And the great one is when you help people make memories that they had no concept that they would have. You know, like they're like, oh, we're going on vacation. It'll be beautiful. You know, yeah. Okay, I sent a couple on I don't know why the Greek Isles are so big for me right now, but another couple on a cruise to the Greek Isles, and the husband reached out to me afterwards and said, "Never thought I was a cruise guy, but you got me hooked. This
You
was
see?
wonderful."
Like your sale made the emotional connection. And that's when,
Right.
right? I mean, I told you when I was on Beyond, watching the girls walk into that penthouse suite and their eyes popping and they're like, wow. And my client turned around and going, well, you outdid yourself on this one. You know,
Yeah.
for me, that was the moment I was like, okay, I'm happy now. Yeah, that's all you want to hear, right?
Like
So
I think I told you, Jim, that I took my mom. We took my mother on a 70th cruise for her 70th birthday, my brother and I and the kids. And we flew to LA. My mom is not big on flying anymore, right? All she does is cruising, but she only goes to the Caribbean out of Miami. She builds her groups and they go to the Caribbean. So I said to my brother, I said, let's do something similar, but let's just do it on the West Coast. So while we were there, it was the Mexican Riviera. We went down to Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, and so forth. But while we were in Cabo, because my wife and I have been to Cabo numerous times, a friend of mine owns a beautiful boat there. And he says, yeah, I'll take you guys out as a surprise for your mom's birthday. I said, perfect. He said, what do you guys want to do? And I said to him, I was like, well, you know, being in Miami, we're on boats all the time. Could we do something here about, what about whale watching? The entire time we're on the boat, my mom thought we were going to be going into the water. We were just going to be on flotation devices and doing like what we do here in Miami on a Saturday, right? And we went way out and my mom got to see a whale breach the entire body, like right. First, we were on the boat and I shouldn't call it a boat. We were on his yacht and the whale came right up to the boat and then blew water out. Scared my mom to death because the whale was double the size of the boat we were on. And then he went down under, and then disappeared. And then all of a sudden, you see him breach out the water, straight up, whole body, head and tail. My mom, that's all she spoke about the entire time. She didn't speak on anything else about the cruise. Right. She was just blessed that obviously that her two boys were there with her and, you know, we were able to show her a great time, obviously. But when she got back to port and she was making her phone calls and she was calling her cousins, how great of a time she had, all she kept talking about was this whale. And seeing that is a memory. And the fact that she was able to do it with her grandkids, seal the deal. Seal the deal. And that's what I'm talking about, is making that memory. It wasn't the cruise. It wasn't us celebrating her 70th birthday. None of that ever came up. It never came up. It never came up at all when she was talking to when she was talking to the family. She's talking to her cousins, people wishing her happy birthday. Oh yeah, we're on a cruise. The kids took me on a 70th cruise. But let me tell you what happened. Paul called up a friend of his who had this beautiful yacht, and he took us out, and I got to see this whale. And this humpback whale.
Well, see, and that's what I was talking about, people, when we can help people build experiences that would never even be in their repertoire. You know, I'm sure your mom, and, you know, I mean, if I'm wrong, so be it. I'm sure your mom was thinking cruise, like you said, cruise with family and grandkids.
That's
and
it. That's something she's already doing.
Right. That's all wonderful. Don't get me wrong. But I'm sure there was nowhere in your mom's scope of reality that she was going to see a whale breach. Or you. I mean, you were like,
I've seen them when we've gone to Alaska, things like that. But my mom had never seen a whale up close and personal.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, that's what we're talking about, memories. It's not about the trip. It's about what happens on the trip.
Correct. Like, prime example, I took my mom to the Grand Canyon. Prime example. My mom had never been to, again, my mom's a traveler. Loved Europe with my dad. My dad used to do the Paris run, JFK Paris. Been all over the globe. Never been to the physical Grand Canyon. Like, what? Ma, we're going to take, and I surprised her last 4th of July. I said, Ma, we're taking a trip. The wife and I were going to take you on a trip. What do I need to pack? This is what you need to pack. Perfect. We get in Arizona. She's clueless. Oh, we're going to Scottsdale? Oh, it's shopping time. I'm like, yeah, we're going to do that. We did that for one day. And then we took the hike into the Grand Canyon. Through the canyon, we went to the Grand Canyon. I took it to Antelope. I took it to Antelope Canyon, and I took it to Horseshoe Bend. Man, when I tell you, she was extremely pleased and grateful, and it was the memory. It was her physically laying her eyes on something that was not man-made, and she had never seen the canyon.
Yep.
So again, it's a matter of you when you're talking to your clients, and you can hard sell all day, but that hard sale is going to cause your client to shop you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if you lead clients to the sale and you have conversation in between leading that client to that sale, you'll gain a client forever. You'll gain a client forever.
Jim and I've also talked about that, about neither one of us are hard salespeople. I've sold a bunch of stuff in my life, but I sold timeshares for 2 years, and I am the only timeshare salesman you ever met that never lied or never pushed.
Yeah.
And I was very successful because people came in with their
Because
guard up.
honestly, it's coming
And I
from
was just
you.
like, right, I would tell people like you did. I said I'd make the conversation and then I'd go, do what you want, but I really think this is for you. And
Right.
they'd go, what? And I said, yeah, I mean, the way you say you travel, I'm not sure this would benefit you. And you could just see the look like,
Right.
is this a scam? No,
Like,
I'm
no.
telling you the truth.
Oh, right.
But yeah, Jim and I are both very much into the conversation, and I have a theory, and Jim and I've talked about this, and I'll make it really short. I think there are two types of sales, and you've kind of alluded to this. There are two kinds of salespeople in the world. There are farmers and miners, and by miners. And those
Right.
are the ones who want to strike it rich on every sale and don't give could care less about the future.
About
The
the
farmers are the ones.
client or the client.
That's what I mean. Yeah. And the farmers are the ones who plant the seed and cultivate lifelong clients. And
Right.
Jim and I are both of the mind, and it sounds like you are too,
I'm a
of
planter.
lifelong clients.
I'm a planter.
I'm a farmer. Yeah. I'm a happy farmer.
Absolutely.
I'd rather you spend $100 with me every year for the next 10 years than
That's
spend $1,000 in hate me.
right.
Yeah, it's hard though, right? Because when you're out there in this business, you compare yourself to others. You're always looking at what the other guy is doing or the gal's doing.
Right.
You kind of want to know. And when you hear about their progression and their sales numbers, you sit them and you go, hey, that's not happening for me, right? And it can be very demotivating quickly. And you have to think about, you have to remind yourself, what was their history? How did they get there? What brought them to that point that you're not at that point? A gentleman we were in the same class with, who we became friendly with, as you know, his business is booming. But he also had a long history of being.
He had a book of business.
And he had a whole supply chain in place.
He had a whole book of business coming in.
Whereas I look back and say, sometimes I kind of regret I didn't hold on to as much of my network as I could have. But I also am glad I'm starting a newer network and finding newer people to work with. And
Creating new conversations, making new friends.
Now, once you get them engaged, like I've got a customer, I sold their first cruise in 5 years. They're going on in November for their anniversary. Their anniversary is Halloween, right? So ultimately, I was like, okay, I've got something for you. Right? I knew I could get them something special. So we're sending them out on the Brilliant Lady on November 1st, right? They're going to go day after their anniversary, brand new ship, brand new itinerary.
Beautiful ship too.
I'm just like, hey, you guys, you're going to go on something special. This is an inaugural year. Everything's fancy. Everything's fresh. The carpet's still going to smell new when you go in the room. And I've now also learned that I'm going on the cruise right after they get off, which we've laughed about. We need to stop in Miami and all have a drink and hear what they heard, and we'll go. And then when I get off, I believe Mr. Chuck is getting on. And so we will consume that ship for a little while. And I don't think any of us could have planned that. But now I feel like we should have called it the Ship Happens Tour or something like that. It's just been funny. But it's like when you find those things, somebody's going to want to go, right? You just kind of, I can get you the cruise. And they were worried about seeing kids. They're worried about just, have a great time. They're a mixed race couple. So there's a concern in today's world. But I said, you go on this version.
That's still a thing?
It is still a thing. Well, it's becoming more of a thing. And let's not go any further on this topic.
Got you.
We can talk about that when the cameras are not rolling and start. But hey, so Paul, you have a great energy about you, right? So that's one thing. I think the thing that I would love to understand is what keeps you there. I feel like there's been I'm a lot more positive in the past few months than I've been when I came in hot and rolling, and then it just like someone threw a bucket of water on me, and I sat down in the corner and just said, what's happening now, right? And I feel it's starting to spark up again. Some of it being obviously climate's changing, people are starting to spend, but what do you do to keep yourself excited about this business in times of down? And how do you do the value proposition as a travel advisor? A lot of people say, well, I don't need travel advisor, I got the internet, I can do anything I want.
Well, the way I keep myself motivated is I had something drastic happen early in my life. When I was 30, I had a heart attack early on at the age of 30. My output and my outlook on life in general is completely different to a lot of others because I had something drastic happen to me so young where I went flatline. I have 3 stents in my LAD. So I look at life in general of we're only here, like I said, how I started, we're only here for a blip, right? A friend of mine yesterday got into a bad car accident in Jamaica. Thank God he's all right, and the car went down the mountain, went down, it's old, and walked out with a broken arm, and that was it, So again, my outlook on life is just, I don't argue. I don't argue with my wife. I don't argue in general. I don't raise my voice. You know, I live in a very peaceful state where I try to keep the peace at all times with everybody. I try to bring joy to a lot of individuals in conversation with you guys. I'm trying, you know, I try, it's just my nature. It's who I am. It's my makeup. It's my build, right? I'm a Pisces. Some people say that plays a part because I'm in tune with my feelings. I'm in tune with my sensitivity. You know, I'm a very sensitive person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Jim, you know, it's here. Like I speak from my heart. I use my brain, but my brain and my heart are connected.
Mhm.
I never use one without the other, but I never let one lead the other either. They're equally moving simultaneously. You know?
That's a fact that I think impacted my staying in corporate America, because in corporate America, you're not encouraged to use your heart.
Right.
You are encouraged to do everything you can with your brain and
Mhm.
right. And that was something that always grated on me, because I too, all my life have known my heart is out there on my sleeve and you can whack it. I also know that I can't do something without the thoughts of, well, how does that impact you emotionally? How does that affect your
Mhm.
feelings? What's it going to do to your life? Right. I think it comes a lot from the, we all deserve a chance. We all deserve to be equal. We all deserve everything we get. And everything we're entitled to. So I just don't feel like I should have anything better because I don't think I have anything better. I'm me. I offer myself, my equation, my body out there is who I am. You take me for what I am, right? I'm not going to give you a different paint job just to make you feel better. So
And
I
that's
think
really
that's
what
the
it is.
way to sell, right? I mean, because you do talk to clients who say, they just got this list they think you're going to tell them. And then you say, well, what would you like to do? They kind of all of a sudden their list is derailed.
You
Totally.
know, it's funny, Paul, what you said. I lost my father when I was 25, so it
Mhm.
didn't happen to me like having a heart attack. It wasn't physical, it was emotional. But yeah, it's funny. Jim and I actually have talked about this. What it's done for me, what it did for me beyond all the sadness and the grief, and I'm not diminishing that, but it was 32 years ago, was that I realized pretty quickly that none of this is guaranteed. So, like you
At
said,
all.
how short it is, and more importantly, none of it's guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah, and Jim, I've had my dark times where it's hard to keep yourself
Of course, we all
together
go
and all
through.
that.
We all go through.
But yeah, it's just, and I'm so glad you said family first, because without my wife and my son, I'd be
That's
bankrupted. People would be chasing me with guns. It would be bad.
100.
So,
100%.
but yeah, no, it's
That's what motivates.
right. And that's what I
Mhm.
love about this business is that we can, yes, of course, it's about making money. We have to feed our families and, pay the rent and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's how often do you get to sell something to someone or have someone purchase something from you that can bring so much inordinate joy,
Mhm.
and like you said, 20 years from now, they go back. But yeah, they can look back 20 years from now and say, I can't remember that guy's name, but you know, he helped facilitate one of the greatest things we've ever done. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Right, man. And
Yeah.
that's really what it is. It's just and you must in this business with us selling vacations, it's gotta come from a good place.
Yes.
You gotta come. You can't be a
You're
square.
connecting it with anger or evil to begin with. That's
Yeah. You can't be a square in this business and think you're gonna be able to sell because you're not.
Right.
so.
You
I'm going to
know?
ask you a question, Paul, that has tripped us up both up, and we've asked each other this, and that is, what is one piece of common advice you do not disagree?
What? Wait, repeat that question one more time.
One piece of common advice you completely disagree with.
What is one piece of advice?
Common advice.
Common.
Common advice.
Like don't eat yellow snow or
No. Yeah. That's something that I don't agree with.
Funny,
There's
shut-
there's a lot. There's a lot.
I don't know if Jim told you, but a couple of episodes ago, we did one episode where I asked him questions, and it was sort of an interview to get to know him. And then the next episode he did to me, or I don't, maybe you did that backwards. But Jim came up with this cockamamie question, and and he hit at me with it first, and I was just like, "What?" And I came up with something, and then he had a week to think about it, and he still stumbled. So we're putting you on the spot, but
You Google chat.
Totally put me on the spot. So the one the advice that I don't agree with, I don't agree with governmental law. I think I really don't. I mean, we have to abide by them, yes, but I don't agree with them.
Any specific types of law? Like, I'm on, like, don't make my morality legal, right? Don't legalize morality. That kind of-
Correct. Just we should be able. We're human before anything. We're all part of the same race. We're all part of this human race. We all bleed the same. We're just different pigmentation. That's all it is. We're just different pigmentations. We may grow up in different areas. We may grow up in different countries. But at the end of the day, we're all born, we all die, we all bleed the same red.
Yes, sir.
We all just have different pigmentations. I just don't believe in people telling me who I can be with, who I cannot be with. And then again, when I inflict governmental law, you can't tell me who I can marry, who I can't marry, who I'm entitled to love and who I want to love. No, none of that matters. No, stop. You can't tell me. I don't listen. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example the other day. I got pulled over. I drive an extremely high-end car because, as you know, Jim, I'm also a realtor as well, right? I get stopped 10:30, 10:40, 10:45 at night in my neighborhood. But he radared me on the other side of the street. I could care less. I saw them make the U-turn. They pull up behind me. He walks past my car, goes to the front of the car and yells out to his partner, "Yeah, this is the car," because my front end is different. I have the i5, BMW i5. My front grille, the kidneys light up. Okay, great. That's how they did it. So he says to me, mind you, I already have my license in my hand. Do you know why I'm pulling? He says, "You have a very unique car." That was the first thing out of his mouth.
Thank you.
That was exactly what I said. Thank you. He says, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" I said, "Honestly, I don't care. Here's my driver's license. I'm not answering any questions." That rubbed him the wrong way. What do you mean you're not answering any questions? Just like I said, my attorney has advised for me not to answer any questions. Here's my driver's license. Here's my proof of insurance. Here's my registration.
Do what you're going to do.
He comes back, "Mr. Lilly, here's your ticket." Grabbed it. I was on my way. I didn't say thank you. I didn't say any limited conversation. And my point is that I don't have to abide by your law. I don't. You want to stop me? Stop me. No problem. But I don't have to interact.
What did he write you up for, Paul?
I don't have to interact. I don't have to interact. I don't have to have the conversation. Huh? Speeding. I was doing 59 in a 45.
Ooh, you're a bad guy.
10:30, 10:45 at night.
Cop who's thinking strange.
Yeah. But again, my point is at the end of the day, I wasn't speeding. I wasn't being overzealous. I wasn't flying down the road. I was in the flow of traffic. All right, you want to cite me? No problem. That's your job. Give me a ticket. No problem. That's your job. Your job is to protect and serve.
Right.
Keywords: protect and serve. Serve is the key word. You are protecting and serving me. Exactly.
Supposed to.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
No, supposed to. I'm like you. I'm a little more. I'm not going to play the game. I'm like you. If you caught me speeding, give me a ticket. I'm not gonna, if I disagree, I'll go to court and argue it. But in the moment, I'm not going to get in a debate
with you.
No.
And again, when I was younger, I was a hothead. Before my 30th birthday, before my 30 years on this planet, I was a hothead. I was a mouth. I mean a mouth. And when I say mouth, I am very pro people. You get what I'm saying? Like, I am very pro people. Like, I'm on the front lines. Women's rights, LGBTQ, and all the pluses. I am in front lines. I don't play. You're not going to badmouth anybody. Karens, I wish a Karen would.
I would love a Karen to come at me sometime.
I wish a Karen would. I've had situations.
We'll do it, Paul.
Listen, I've been in situations like that, and my wife, who is infinitely smarter than I am, she's got one word. She'll go, "Honey." She knows. She can see it. And I'm not a hothead, and I'm not a mouth. I'm not. I'm like you now. I live in a world of peace. I don't want any drama. I don't want any mess. Just let's get through the day. But there are times when people rub me wrong, and I'll be like, and my wife just, honey, don't do it.
I had a situation on Saturday at Publix at our local supermarket. All right. They have now added in my local supermarket, so let me go back to telling you this quick story. So like I said, Saturday I'm at Publix and I'm in the checkout line, the manual checkout line, not where you're being assisted by an attendant, right? So I'm at Publix and I'm in the checkout line, and I didn't realize that there was maybe 2 lines. So I thought it was 2 lines, but apparently it was 1. So there was a free monitor, free scanner. So I walked up to it thinking, nobody else is waiting. Let me just start scanning my stuff. So this woman comes up to me. We can play guess her race later. But
That game is outlawed on Life in the Cruising, in the Love of the Baggage Family. We don't do that.
so she comes up. Like I said, I'm facing the register and I'm scanning my products. She comes up to me and she's just a mouth going in. She's like, you people think you can just come in here, and she hit me with the you people.
That's a trigger for me.
But so, like I said, I haven't even looked at her, but she's right here. She's literally right here beside me, just mouthing off at me. I was in line. You people think you can just come in here and just cut and get your way. And she's going in for a good 30 seconds. She's going in 30, 45 seconds. Felt like she was going on for a good 3 minutes, but it maybe 35, 40 seconds. So I looked at her and I did like this. I said to her, I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And she said, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. So now when I said that to her, she looked at me and was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Extremely apologetic. Let me pay for my groceries. Paid for my groceries, right? We walked outside together. And now mind you, parked in a disabled spot right in front. I have a permit. I'm legally parked there. Well, now it really looks, because the trunk opens up. She's helping me put my groceries in the car. So then she goes like, can I have a hug? And I went to hug her and I said, now who feels like a fool, in her ear. Got in my car and drove off.
All right. So if you're listening to this episode and that's you, remember, we were not part of that.
But it's a teachable moment.
It is.
It's a teachable moment.
See, she could have handled that so differently.
Treat people with respect.
Well, and she could have handled that so differently. I'll give you an example, because I don't know if you remember, there was a comedian back in, I think, in the 90s. Her name was Brett Butler, white woman from the South. And she had this whole thing about being a butthead Avenger. And my wife said, I'm a butthead Avenger. I'm the guy. And we were on a Virgin cruise, and we were in the galley, and there was a line for food, and it was obvious. And this woman walks up out of nowhere and starts to give her order. And I said, ma'am, do you see this line? And she looked at me like I had 3 heads. And I'm like, we're all waiting. And she just looked at me and went, oh, and got in line. Now, I was a little caustic, because I was like, I cannot believe that she was that brazen about it.
Right.
But if this woman had walked up to you and said, sir, I don't know if you're aware, but we're all waiting in line, you'd have been like, my bad.
100%.
Let me
150%. But
on how you approach people.
He didn't do that. So you know what I did? I hit her with a little guilt. I
can't be mad at you.
I have a cousin who's deaf. So, growing up, we tease him. As kids, we would tease him, crack jokes, play with him. But I love him to death. I'll do anything for him. If anybody said the wrong thing to him, they're getting dealt with. They're definitely getting dealt with. But again, I used it as a teachable moment to her, to let her know you can't do that. You can't walk up on people like that.
I'm not mad at you.
I got free groceries from it. She ended up paying $60 for my.
So when you told her that, what did she respond?
I didn't give her time. I got my car. I just dropped Mike. It was literally by my car door.
Because she's sitting at the next women's auxiliary meeting saying, I met this guy and he fooled me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, today's truth of the moment is yourself. Be kind.
Be kind to people. We're not here that long.
Honestly,
you can't live with that hostility, that anger, that I don't want to call it hatred, but you can't.
It's hatred.
It is what it is, obviously.
It's hatred.
There's a lot of hatred in the country, but
Paul, I speak for all white people. I have a certificate on my wall. I speak for all white people, and I'm with you. No, that was hatred. That's all that is.
Of course it was.
And I'm thankful you put her in her place.
And it was either me looking at her and giving her that same energy, because normally that's what I would have done, because I am a fight fire with fire type of individual. But lately last couple of years, I've just been in my own safe space, and let's make this a teachable moment.
Right.
Let's make this a
She needed it. She needed it.
So by me doing this, saying as if I was deaf, because I ignored her because remember, I told you I never looked at her until I turned to her, right? And I'm sorry, dude, this is what it is. I didn't know, I didn't hear you. And then she's like this, going all mouth and south, we're in Miami. Hence, I had to make it a teachable moment.
And you thought I drew lines and dug holes, Jeff.
Oh, no, well, you usually fall into them. Paul's diving in head first. So
head first.
I'm impressed. I'm
Head
impressed.
first.
Hey, man,
Head
be
first.
you. I'm with it.
So
We probably should wrap this up, though.
Every chance I can get, I'm always going to try to educate. And that's what I tell you, Jim, when we're on our calls. Educate your clients.
I'll have to share that when Paul and I talked about doing this interview, he had some reticence. He had some fears. He mentioned that, I think there was a bit of I don't want to represent the company. And I said, that's not what we're asking you for. It's more about exactly what you did today. So this is part of why we like calling this thing life in the baggage claim. These are the stories that would happen while you're waiting for your luggage, right?
Right.
Sometimes you get it right away and get off the plane because you're a premium customer. And sometimes you're the last bag off the plane standing there going, what did I do wrong? So, this is about how life treats you. As we've learned, and as Google and other AIs have told us as we go and look and point it on ourselves, this podcast is not about just travel. This podcast is about life journey, life growing, opportunities through the eyes of travel, obviously, because travel does open you up. So if you have spent the whole episode with us today and you've heard all of our fun little chat, we invite you to share this with your friends if you liked it, subscribe, and be part of our community. It's been great having you here. Thank you, Paul, for joining us today.
Thank you both. It was a fun time with you both.
Pleasure to meet you.
Meeting you too, brother. Definitely pleasure meeting you. I look forward to doing this again. Maybe if you need me again, I'm here. Let me know when I can come back, and I'll have some more fun stories. I've got tons.
Chuck, your turn to leave us words of parting wisdom for the day.
Yeah, I agree with Paul. Be good to people. Folks, if you want to deal with a couple of really nice guys, and Paul's on this list too now, who just want to help you create memories and just want to help you get the most out of life, feel free to give us a call, contact us. We would love to hear from you, and feel free to leave comments. We live for that. And I think we're at the point, Jim, you and I had talked about it, where leave comments about things you'd like us to talk about.
Yes,
if we don't have it on the list, we'll weave it in.
And if you're not comfortable leaving a comment, go to lifeinthebagageclaim.com. There's a form there where you can leave some information. Hey, if you think you're worth being a guest on this show, we invite you to tell us you want to be a guest on the show, because everybody has something to share in this world, and your advice might hit somebody through this medium, and it might make an impact. And that's all we can say. Our goal is to bring better to the world, and I think spread love and joy.
That's right.
Because when you start that, the waves that go out get more intense. And I never thought I'd say this in the podcast, but we want to be a vehicle for change too, right? I mean, travel is a vehicle for change, but we want to be a vehicle for how that change happens. So thank you all. Have yourselves a great weekend. If you're listening to this, it'll be after Labor Day. So hopefully you had a great Labor Day, and we'll see you next time.
And wait, can I drop something really quick?
Yes, you can.
Because obviously you're not going to have my phone numbers, or my contact. But if you want to find me, I can be located on Instagram, on IG. You can look me up at I am Paul Antonio. That's the easiest way to find me. That's my personal Instagram. I'm always there. So, if you need me, you want any questions answered, you can hit me there, and I'm a book of knowledge.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, everybody. Have a great time.
Have a great weekend. Definitely. Bye now.